This was always the dream, rising high above the ground, watching it from above, feeling everything that seems so important diminish and become immaterial, like an eagle, all-seeing, all-knowing. And now you are there, striving upward where the sky is the limit, where the dream becomes reality. But pilots say the number of takeoffs should always match the number of landings, or else. In 1991, Ukraine inherited an incredible whirlybird fortune, 570 military and around 80 civilian helicopters. Several years later, only a fourth of the civilian whirlybirds could even take off. The situation in the military was even worse. Hundreds of first-class pilots were denied the skies. June 2003 marks the launch of the Ukrainian Helicopters project. A private company invests tens of millions to overhaul and modernize 16 Mi-8 MTV helicopters. Looking good on paper, in fact they would have ended up junked without an overhaul. Such helicopters are commonly referred to as dead.
Включено бортовое напряжение в норме, аэродромное 27 включено, проверено, бурма это включены зеленый ряд, выполнение листовка трансмота готов.
But these were brought back to life.
This aviation company was established to participate in United Nations peacekeeping operations. It took 3 years to get the company ready for UN-specific work. We used that time to gain international hands-on experience, including firefighting operations. 3 years, and a UN-conducted audit later, the company was authorized to work in UN roles.
The year 2004 sees old Europe covered in flames. In the west, Portugal mountain forests are ablaze and had to be put out at any cost. That kind of mission requires special aviation equipment, which was finally found at the other end of Europe at Ukrainian helicopters. 2 years later, in 2006, forest fires are raging in Turkey. Ukrainian Helicopters sends its 4 best crews there. 1 year after that, fires strike Ukraine. Grigory Krivoshia was a chief pilot for the Crimea forest fire fighting mission. He's no stranger to that kind of work.
We repositioned fast from Kherson to Greater Yalta and picked up water right from the Black Sea and dumped it onto the fires.
Operations were conducted at the lowest possible altitudes. Flames all but reached the landing gear. Grigory Krivoshia performed 95 dangerous water pickups and drops.
Well, you can imagine what 95 takeoffs and landings involve. But here we're talking water pickups and drops. Much harder. It's a tough job, but it gives you an inner satisfaction, a feeling that you have accomplished something that really matters to protect nature and people.
In summer 2010, with major experience under its belt, Ukrainian Helicopters sets out for Russia on a firefighting mission to be carried out just like at home, on a pro bono basis. 2 crews logged 730 hours of flight time and performed 2,116 water drops. Then Prime Minister Vladimir Putin personally awarded the Ukrainian firefighting pilots on the always dependable Mi-8 MTVs. An Mi-8 MTV helicopter is an astonishingly versatile machine, built to carry out an array of missions, from simple tasks to daunting and dangerous challenges. This helicopter is capable of carrying on board 22 passengers and, if need be, a 4-ton cargo. Ukrainian helicopters is comprised of 28 such aircraft. On the outside, they may look like their first prototypes, but inside they're outfitted with cutting-edge gear and equipment. Their avionics has traffic collision avoidance and ground proximity warning features. The head office in Kiev maintains real-time tracking of any movements of all 28 machines, anywhere in the world. The company's helicopters use state-of-the-art avionics. On the ground, at the Aviation Training Center, company pilots first get familiar with innovative technical abilities. That's been functioning since 2009 for flight and cabin crew.
A pilot has a choice between illegal and legitimate work. I chose legit at Ukrainian helicopters. Thanks to the Aviation Training Center, I obtained required ratings and improved my English proficiency at the company's expense. My current qualification allows me to work as a pilot for the UN.
As a rule, a military to civilian pilot transition training course takes 1 year. Over 300 military retirees work with the company, and all of them are up to completing the most complicated missions. In 2005, Pakistan is stricken by a devastating earthquake. Thousands are stranded within the disaster zone and cut off from the outside world. The scale of the catastrophe is terrifying. The United Nations is urgently looking for carriers to deliver vital cargoes to remote regions of Pakistan. This man learned about the earthquake from the news, and the realization struck at once.
This is a job for our helicopters to handle.
So Ukrainian helicopters takes on the job. The Whirlybirds had to ferry relief cargo to Pakistan. Not an easy task to accomplish at 200 kilometers per hour.
Almost every flight involved the use of an external sling system carrying almost 3 tons of cargo. Our flight missions covered all of Pakistan. Our operating base was located almost in the earthquake epicenter. All the towns and settlements around us virtually lay in ruins.
This was an endurance test for Ukrainian helicopters. Himalayan foothills with terrain elevations reaching 3,000 meters or even higher.
Our company's 9 helicopters participated in earthquake relief operations in Pakistan. Our company was among those first to get down to work. We evacuated earthquake victims, the injured and the ill from mountainsides. We carried a total of 13,700 passengers. We knew that many lives depended on our work, so we did our utmost at our maximum capacity. It was a catastrophe that had stricken the people. But we knew that regardless of their faith, be it Muslim or Christian, we were welcome here.
They are now welcome arrival in any calamity-stricken place. In 2006, after the mission in Pakistan, Ukrainian helicopters becomes an official vendor of the United Nations and the World Food Program. The WFP logo, an ear of corn, is humorously called Fist on the Cob by pilots. Oftentimes, this logo means the very last hope, which floats in on a white Ukrainian helicopter. In 2007 and after, they helped stop famine in Kenya, Ethiopia, Somalia, Mozambique, Myanmar, and Madagascar. Since 2012, they've been doing it in the Republic of South Sudan. This new state only appeared on the world map in 2011.
Even now, some people wear loincloths and carry spears. You arrive at a location with your mobile phone and other modern gadgets, and you see people in loincloths and spears coming out to welcome you. This white miracle, as it were, arrives and brings them food. And we do arrive.
I had them referred to a helicopter as Paka Paka. That must have come from the sound made by whirling rotors. Two brothers, Valery and Oleg Kornichuk, make preparations to transport foodstuffs to Pochala, situated at the South Sudan-Ethiopia border.
Here are our helicopters parked next to each other. 92 whiskey is Oleg's and 99 is mine. Such occasions are rare. Before that, we used to work on different missions and only heard each other in mid-air during radio check.
It's hard here, both on people and aircraft.
At night, on its return, the helicopter is very hot. After arrival, I go and replace the tape inside the tail boom. When you touch the tape, it is so hot your hands get burnt. Also, it gets clogged with sand and soiled with lubricants.
Samir El Sigid prepares the helicopter for a hard day. He was born here in Sudan. His father was one of the locals. His uncle is a Sudanese entertainment star. As a matter of fact, his name and looks are about the only thing African about this technician, and his ability to easily bear the tropical climate.
Africa is my birthplace. This is my climate. And I like it. And people here are nice.
Nice people, local rebels shot down a Russian helicopter in the vicinity of Pachala. The crew died. Now Ukrainians are headed there, carrying a load of sorghum and chickpeas.
100 kgs, the report on active.
Next over table, you're 81.
We request taxi destination Namoya, flag level 105.
The customs and ways in this part of Sudan are intimidating, but it's in such places that people need help most of the time. Like white angels, our helicopters descend from the heavens. Oleg Kornichuk is first to land. His cargo is unloaded in only 20 minutes. Just as he's about to take off, his elder brother's helicopter lands. There is no time left for talking. The helicopters have to return to the capital, Juba, before the weather and the local chief's mood change for the worse. The Ukrainians are in luck today. The flight went well.
Hey, how you doing? Been waiting for me. I see you did.
In 2010, the Haitian capital, Port-au-Prince, succumbs to an earthquake of tremendous magnitude. The death toll reaches 200,000 across the country. Dismal ruins reek with death. The country is on the verge of a cholera outbreak. UN Special Envoy, 42nd President of the United States, Bill Clinton, is commissioned to visit the island.
They have a commitment to building the country they want to become now, not just to rebuilding what they were.
For the entire duration of his mission to Haiti, he uses a Ukrainian helicopter's crew to take him to ruined towns and villages.
He would always wear a cowboy hat. He put on his cowboy hat and stuck a Cuban cigar in his mouth. But he didn't smoke it, just held it in his mouth as a matter of habit. Just sat, reading something. But he had no problem flying with us. He used to say, "I feel safe when I'm with you."
Entebbe, Uganda. It's a Great Lake Victoria coastal area called the African Paradise by tourists. This is the heart of Black Africa. It's Pearl, but it's only a little distance away from civil war-torn countries where war survivors face constant famine. For that reason, Ukrainian helicopters uses Entebbe as its main logistic base in Africa. One of the company's 14 overseas maintenance stations is located in Uganda. The maintenance department employs over 140 highly skilled specialists who meet all international standards for helicopter maintenance. Since 2008, Ukrainian helicopters has been working for UN peacekeeping missions in Sudan, South Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The UN mission in Congo, MONUSCO, is one of the most complicated missions. In Congo, helicopters are deployed in mountainous areas at elevations up to 1,500 meters. Chief pilot Valery Lakotosh has an air tasking order to carry a cargo of grain to Shabunda. It's an approximately 2-hour flight from the base. The people desperately need any provisions because a military conflict still rages on in the country.
We climb to the highest possible altitude to eliminate any possibility of hostile fire. The captain checks the landing site for safety. If there's something wrong, he hears gunshots or sees a firefight going on, he will cancel the landing.
Well, things look quiet now on the ground. Not so long ago, however, clashes took place with a militant armed group on the village outskirts. Now soldiers are peacefully offloading the grain. delivered by our whirlybirds. This is an unbelievably beautiful and inspiring country, more so when viewed from a bird's-eye perspective. But there's a war going on in the midst of this beauty, and it took a toll on Ukrainians too. March 2012 delivers alarming news. The crew of a Ukrainian military helicopter was shot at from the ground in Beni locality. Our countryman, Sergei Vaskivsky, the captain of the military contingent, was wounded. The man was shot in the leg. He was losing blood. He had a serious wound from a heavy machine gun. Sergei was shot while airdropping leaflets calling for ending the war. There was no time left to lose. He was already half unconscious with blood loss. He was taken aboard the helicopter captained by Gennady Bagrin. We received an order to take an injured person and carry him from one aerodrome to another, which we did. Sergei was assisted on board by paramedics who hustled the crew along. There was an IV drip in the holder, and paramedics attending to him. A normal flight from Beni to the hospital takes 2 hours. Bagri's Mil Mi-8 covered that distance much faster. This aircraft, the workhorse of the African sky, was again up to the task. Similar things happened before. The year 2011 finds Ukrainian helicopters in the West African Republic of the Côte d'Ivoire, right next to the ousted president's palace at the very moment the UN forces were trying to clear it of its armed allies.
Back then, Ukrainian Helicopters was the only company in Côte d'Ivoire to agree to a most perilous UN mission. We proceeded under the cover of combat helicopters of the Ukrainian peacekeeping contingent. Under their cover, our crews evacuated 72 peacekeepers from the battlefield. Aviation company personnel evacuated the peacekeepers, and I dare say showed courage and heroism, truly displaying UN principles in supporting them with valiant actions.
They always go where history is made. They are ready to bring help to any part of the world in a moment. That's the way they've done it for 10 years. Over that period, they carried more than 500,000 passengers and delivered 25,000 tons of vital cargoes in peacekeeping and humanitarian missions. For many, just to fly is a dream come true. Ever since I was a child, I had this dream, and I have really lived it. Ukrainian Helicopters is working and living the dream every day.
The sky means life to me. Everything important that has happened to me since the age of 17. The sky is my life. I cannot think of another, and perhaps cannot do anything other. The word last is avoided in aviation. When a person retires, he might say, "This was my last flight." But for pilots, it is always my most recent flight, with the hope that there will be another one soon.
And they will definitely have another. There is still much work to be done.
We can fly. We will leave the world behind. We will leave.